Hey folks, heading up to the cabin again with sawmill in tow. Been having some trouble with my trailer connection, and I thought it was the sawmill umbilical cord, I guess you could call it, the 7-pin connector, but had the same problem on my camper with a 6-pin, and so it's clearly not the sawmill. It's something to do with the truck's trailer connection. But anyway, we're heading up to the cabin, so we're gonna get up there, and this time, gosh, it's been a while since I've had the mill up at the cabin. I tried to do it in early December, as some of you may have seen. Gonna get some milling done, and might even quarter saw up a big pine. I did it once before on a pine that was really heavily blue stained, and it yielded some pretty neat stuff. You know, normally you wouldn't quarter saw pine. You know, softwoods generally you don't quarter saw, and you'll have to ignore that beep sound. That's my trailer. This is the brain of this truck telling me the trailer's not connected. But yeah, normally you wouldn't quarter saw softwoods. It's generally done on hardwoods, and you know, it's kind of a combination of several factors. You know, shrinkage in terms of width over thickness, durability, end grain or edge grain versus you know, flat boards, that kind of things. And there are a few different ways to do it. And for me, it depends on the customer which way I do it. The easiest way is what I would call the Wood Mizer way, and that is, and I'll probably do that today just to show you. It tends to give you more rift sawn lumber, which, if you're not familiar with the term rift sawn or even quarter sawn, quarter sawing is, in short, the easiest way to think of it is, if you split the log into 4 quarters, and then you took each of those quarters and you went and just sawed right down the quarter, so that the grain pattern is either standing straight up and down, and I'll show you that, or mostly standing straight up and down. A rift sawn would be about 45 degrees. And of course, flat sawn is where the grain is horizontal, and quarter sawn is when the grain stands straight up and down. When you're looking at the end of a board, you know, or looking at the top of the board, you could see that grain. So if you were to quarter the log up and just drop it on the deck, on the flat sides, you could then mill it up, and you would get both quarter sawn and rift sawn lumber. However, quarter sawing up a log that way can be time consuming, especially on a manual mill. But the way I'll call the Wood Mizer way is a little bit different. Basically, on the Wood Mizer way, you drop the head down to a depth that will both not split the pith and give you wide enough board. So for example, if you've got a log that will allow it, you may drop the head 6, 8, 10 inches, mill that off, roll it off the log, flip the log 180 degrees and do it again. And then the center of the log, so let's say you do 2 6-inch cap cuts, basically. You take those 2 6-inch cap cuts, you roll them off, and you stand the log up, and if you've got an 18-inch log, then that'll give you about a 6-inch center, two-sided cant, basically. Then what you do is you come down and you box out the heart. You come a 1/2 inch above the heart, and you take a cut, go 1/2 inch below the heart, take a cut, and pull that board out. That'd be a 1x. So at least that 1-inch board would have boxed the heart. Now, if you really want to do it right, you'll then stand those up and take the heart completely out of that later, like a flitch. Then, depending on what you've got, you may, you know, it's possible that you could take 2 or 3 out, but if you only had a 6-inch cant, then boxing out that heart would be fine. Then what you do is you've got, since you've taken out the heart of that one piece, Now you've got two cants that'll be, let's say, 6 by 6. And you can then lay those side by side and just mill them down. Bump, 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 down she goes. And all those boards should be pretty well quarter sawn. You should have a grain that is not quite rift sawn, though maybe the outside boards will be a little bit on the rift side. And there you go, you pull those off. Then you've got your two cap cuts. So let's say you did 6-inch cap cuts. You put those two cap cuts back up on the deck. And actually what you can do is clamp them together and then mill them down halfway. And then you got to flip them over to put the flat side down and then mill them the rest of the way. So that's basically the Wood Mizer way. It's pretty fast, it's pretty simple. It will give you a fair amount of rifts on, but you'll still get that end grain. You'll still see some ray fleck. You know, it'll give you what you want for the most part. And you'll get a lot of quarter sawn that way. And it's the fastest, probably most efficient way. Anyhow, we're gonna get up here. We're gonna enjoy the cabin for a week with the grandkids. We're gonna run the sawmill. We're gonna probably burn some slash, maybe get some work done at the cabin. Probably just do a lot of relaxing and do a lot of cabin stuff, right? You gotta do that once in a while, especially right at the beginning of milling season. For, you know, for anybody running a portable sawmill or, you know, a sawmill business that doesn't do much work in the winter, I'll tell you what, springtime is time to be really cracking on the mill. So I'm gonna get to drive in. Just got another half a mile or 3/4 of a mile to go, I think, and then we can get set up at the cabin and relax and take the sawmill up where the logs are, drop it off, and try to relax the rest of the day because it's been a long drive, about 5 hours. All right, folks, we are sneaking our way past the trees and rocks and craziness that amounts to getting to the cabin these days. Pulling the sawmill up behind the dually, you know, it's pretty long, so you got to kind of sneak around places that normally we don't even think about in the Jeeps as I bounce the mill over a big rock. Good times. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go. We'll Jarhead out. Y'all have a good day.